Cool. Yeah, let's get started, everyone. Thanks for setting this up, Jeffrey. I very much appreciate it. I just moved into a new office here over the past couple of days. We are getting we were not ejected out of our main office for about 9 months, as they have to do some renovating because the building's like 130 years old. It's a beautiful old building. So I'm in this Regis office. If you guys ever been one of these, like a factory of offices. But I've got a nice little thing here up on the 7th floor, looking down to the city. So everything is good. Let me quickly open up the questions box as well, so I can actually see you guys' questions. I should be able to do that here, and I'll close this here. And then there's the chat thing as well here. And just maybe quickly checking for those people that just joined. Can you guys hear me okay? Audio and visual, it all sound pretty good. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about momentum. So one of the things that, over the course of history of my career, the course of my career, I've very much been focusing on sector and group rotation, or rotation among asset classes. When you get trained on the institutional side and either whether it's investment banking or ultimately on the fund management side, where I reside today over at Blue Marlin, or here for educational purposes at the TST Trender, you really get trained to look where the money is flowing, right? Where are new trends developing? What has changed, however, at an accelerating pace, and no pun intended, because that's actually literally what the topic is here today, is indeed how algorithms have really changed the way markets work. To give you just a little bit of an idea on that, and I shouldn't say the way markets work, but the speed at which markets can change is really kind of what I'm referring to here. Before we look at some things here, I think it's important to respect the fact that something like a GameStop, or even the duration of the mega cap stocks, how long they've rallied, how severely, adding 300 billion to half a trillion in market cap a day, those kind of things are very difficult to do unless most of the trading is basically algo driven, like automated trading. But automated trading has led to markets being more and more momentum driven, and I'll define what that means. So we've developed an indicator, a tool that, whether you're at home as a self-directed trader or you're an institutional investor, that you could use to find momentum in the market. Momentum's fleeting. Momentum and trends are two different things. So let me explain that a little bit. This is yours truly. I took this picture at my main office, still now, again, in this temporary Regis thing for 9 months. But that's kind of my background, so I'm not going to go over this again. Risk disclaimer, I know, Jeffrey, you mentioned yours. On my end, too, you need to mention it. Everything I talk about here today is definitely not any recommendations, purely educational. Make sure you never trade or invest with more money than you can afford to lose. That's important, I think, in general. Now, let's talk a little bit of indicators and tools. As markets change, we need to sometimes use different strategies. Not every strategy works in every single market. There might be strategies that work in many markets, but sometimes we need to adjust. And so when we look at this indicator or this process we developed that we're showing you today, it's a momentum indicator. Momentum works a lot of times. There are sometimes markets where there's no momentum, but then typically you can find an asset or an asset class that has momentum. So what is momentum, and how should we understand this? When you look at momentum on this chart here, what you can see is it's essentially an acceleration in the move. That's why momentum is fleeting. It's not constant, and it's not a trend. It's momentum. So if anyone here is an options trader, or you like leverage, you like to use futures, like that's really where ideally we use a leverage. For me specifically, certainly, and momentum is where we want to use leverage, right? When trends accelerate, and that usually that acceleration doesn't last for a long time. It comes and goes. That's why options and other levered products are such a great tool, are such ideal tools in those kind of those moments in the markets. And so momentum, if we just get a bit geeky for a minute, so for the engineers here, you'll enjoy this. For everyone else, it'll put you to sleep, but I'll say it anyway. It's a fundamental concept in physics, and it's defined basically the quantity of motion and the quantity of motion an object possesses. Very specifically, it's essentially mass times velocity, right? And so what it looks like is this is the equation. I'm sure no one here except the engineers care about that, and you don't really have to care about it from a trading perspective either. I'm not trying to scare you, but I took this and I kind of put it into more of a sort of fifth grader drawing. What you have here is you're looking at this car and you take its mass times its velocity. And again, that's not that important here. I'm just giving you this for sort of, for those people that care. The way to think about momentum is let's say you're in this little blue car and you're going 45 miles an hour on like your average road. But then you're going onto a highway and you're accelerating from 45 to, let's say, 70 miles an hour. That point in time where you go from 45 to 70 miles an hour, that is the momentum. That's an acceleration in the trend. Once you're at 70 miles an hour, the momentum is gone, right? And that's what I'm saying. Momentum is pretty fleeting. It comes and goes, but it provides tremendous opportunity. And the reason why I think this is going to stay with us in different parts of the market, it's not going to be always in tech. I can guarantee you that. In fact, it's probably done in tech for a while now, but it's moving into energy right now. It's moving into healthcare stocks. It's moving into all sorts of stocks. It's moving into on the downside in stocks and then down. In fact, tech, I'll show you in a minute, actually has a lot of momentum trades to the downside. Like the NASDAQ 100 today had a beautiful trade this morning. We can look at it here in real time in a minute. So that's the difference between trend and momentum. Momentum is fleeting. It's what algorithms look for, because the way that computer trading works and algos work is they're all in tune with others, right? Whatever their measurement is, and I'm not here to tell you that I know every single algo that exists out there. That's not even close. I have, in fact, zero chance of that. But we know that they follow one another. So when some big algo comes in or automated trading comes in, they buy something or they sell something, others will notice. So that's why momentum is such a big thing. And so if we now go and start looking at this a bit more practically, again, it's the rate of acceleration. It refers to the asset to basically continue moving in the direction, but at an accelerated pace, right? That's what this is all about. Okay. Now, so we've defined the basis of this, and stock market momentum. Again, it's fleeting. It's not a constant. It comes and goes, but that's also why it's so interesting from a trading perspective. So if you're sitting at home now, or in your office, or if you're a professional investor and trader, or you are at home, momentum is what we look for trades. That's basically what we look for. Or it can reaffirm or continue reaffirm or reestablish, maybe it's the better term, existing trends that are in existing place. So that's kind of that. As I said before, traders really need momentum, and I think it's the price acceleration that gets people excited. And you can look at this very simply. We just have a simple chart here of Amazon. You can see the trend is the longer term move, the big green line, but it's the momentum that gets people excited. But again, momentum's fleeting. So typically by the time it reaches the headline news, it's usually a little bit too late. And so that's kind of the thing about this. And I think that's one of the challenges with traditional momentum indicators or traditional ways of looking at momentum is they're typically lagging signals, and they can result in late entries and exits. As long as we understand that momentum isn't a constant, it's a part of a trend. I think that's a really, really important part to understand about this. I think traditional indicators, you can look stochastics and all sorts of things like that. They typically don't adapt quick enough, and they're being used in a lot of the Main Street algorithms out there, so that if that's what we use for momentum, it typically leads to kind of I'm trying to find a good analogy, but I guess the point is if you're using the tools that the algos use to kind of go against, then you can imagine that that's not very, very helpful. So anyway, Again, what we're going to show you here today, I'm going to use something called the TST Trender Momentum Indicator. It's the tool that I developed to measure momentum. It's something that the institutional investors focus on the signals they're in. And essentially what we're looking for is fresh momentum in real time. We can use this for day trading. I'll show you this in just a second here right now. Day trading, we can use it for swing trading. And so we'll show you this in different time frames. So here is how it works, and let's just get into it. So just to give you a little bit of an example, we typically like to analyze price and volume to some extent, and then we generate buy or sell signals based on predefined criteria. We started using this indicator specifically for the S&P 500, so the SPY, the NASDAQ 100, and the Russell 2000. And this, of course, can also be used with equities. It can be used with futures. In fact, that's a lot of times what I use it for is equities, futures, and ETFs, and even crypto, as you'll see here shortly as well. So the indicator is developed really for more trading accuracy. That's the point. And I would say without any further ado, let's get into it. So this is today we're showing you this, and I'm very happy to be able to announce that we're actually now launching this in Meta stock. Thanks to the hard work of Jeffrey and his team, we have this available in Meta stock. So let's go ahead and pull up our Meta stock platform and see if we can show you some things that are happening right now. So we'll look at the NASDAQ 100 here in just a few minutes, but just to give you a bit of an idea, this is, you guys remember, this was 2 Fridays ago. I had just I was in Spain on vacation, and I had to go pick up one of my friends at the airport. And that Friday, I believe, is the 19th of July. The 19th of July was when we had this global IT meltdown. You guys remember that? You may have, maybe you were one of the people that had a blue screen from Microsoft that day. And there was airline problems, and Delta just announced, I think this morning, they lost $500 million because of that. So if you look at this trend identification, excuse me, momentum, very important, big distinguishment. You can see that this is a daily chart. You can see that the 19th of July is right there where I put my cursor. And of course, since then, CrowdStrike has fallen from like 300 down to like the low 200s now this morning, 220, 225. What's really cool, though, is that the TST Trender momentum indicator actually detected that momentum was shifting to the downside, to the bearish side, 2 days prior. Now, let me be very clear. This indicator did not know that 2 days later, CrowdStrike would cause a massive global IT meltdown. It did not know that. So I'm not here to spread conspiracy theories at all. It didn't know that. But it did see that momentum was changing. And so obviously 2 days later, we had the IT meltdown. That stock was down like 20% or maybe 15% that day, and it's continued to go lower since. So this is an acceleration in trend, and I think this is a perfect example to give people of what this means, right? Now, what we're doing here is we're basically just using 2 moving averages, right? Now, before we talk about what these are, let me tell you one thing. I'm going to tell you what these moving averages are, but I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm going to guarantee you this 100%. If you're not going to go out there and you try to use those 2 moving averages, and you're going to fail doing this. Like, this is not about moving average crossovers as much as it is what specifically does the algorithm that we have and how it tracks other algorithms, what specifically has to happen at this point in time at the crossover to make it a valid signal. Okay, so if you're going to use these 2 moving average and you say, okay, I'm going to use this guided search, thank you, you're going to fail. It will not give you enough good signals. The 2 moving average are as follows. You have an 8-period moving average, which is the blue one. That's the fast one. And you have a 21-period moving average. And yes, you get signals at the crossovers, but there's a decent amount of sophistication behind it to make sure that it gives us signals at points where it actually makes sense. Okay, Now, we're not going to give you the algo, obviously, because otherwise I might as well give it to you for free, but I can explain to you what the rationale behind it is. So that's CrowdStrike. Now, you might ask yourself, Serge, this is nice, you're giving me a past example. What about something right now, right here? Let's look at the NASDAQ 100. So this is the NASDAQ 100 on a 5-minute chart right now. I think it's 15 minutes delayed. I think the NASDAQ is bouncing a little bit. If I look up at one of my other, I have a lot of screens in my office. If you guys saw my office, you would see I have like 8 screens in here. So what you can see happened this morning on a 5-minute chart, again, we got these crossovers, but again, it's important to qualify what happens at the crossover. And the NASDAQ 100 came in here, or the trender detected that the NASDAQ 100 was accelerating its trend. And so that acceleration has then led very quickly for the NASDAQ 100 to reach its profit target. And now we're basically operating on a trailing stop basis. Our goal with this indicator, whether it's on a 5-minute chart here for day trading or on a daily chart for swing trading, is to be able to get to a profitable trade as quickly as possible, right? And then we can always trail part of the position. So, like for example, with the NASDAQ 100, what we're looking to do is we're looking to this morning get to that exit point. You can see it right there. It's a bit small, but you should be able to see it. And that would have been the main profit target. So I typically will take half to 3/4 of the position off at that point. And then I could keep, maybe a quarter or a third on for what's called a runner. Then depending on how risk averse I am, I can then either use the blue line, which is the 8 period moving average, or the other one here, the purple one, is the 21 period moving average. Again, it's important to understand that if you're just going to use the 2 moving average and try to make this work, I guarantee you're going to fail. I've used this for 10 years. We worked on this together with a bunch of hedge funds, and it's not about the moving averages crossing over. It's about what specifically happens at the moving average crossovers. Okay, and that it's pretty sophisticated. So I'm just warning you. I don't want you to start saying, "Oh, I got it. It's a great signal." You go and start using it, lose a lot of money. That won't work. I'm just telling you. I just want to make sure you understand that right now. Okay. So this is the NASDAQ 100. What about the S&P 500 here on a intraday chart? We're looking at the SPY. Let me quickly bring that up. So this is the SPY. I just want to quickly show you like today's price action because it's a 5-minute chart. So let me quickly go in here. I'm going to move this over here, and I'm going to move this over here. So this is just right now today. You can see we got a sell signal there. Actually, the S&P this morning also got a buy signal. So let me share that with you quickly. We got a buy signal this morning, and you can see it didn't quite reach its initial profit target. In fact, it lost 0.2%. At 0.2%, we had a buy signal, and then we actually had, you can see the exit, so we lost about 0.2%, and then we got a sell signal. We got a sell signal at, I think it was 10:25 Eastern time, so that's New York time for those people that like to focus on the New York Stock Exchange trading hours, and we're trailing lower ever since. We reached the profit target. You can see the exit level right there, and again, if we want to use the trailing stops, we're actually now starting to break above that 8 period moving average. And so if you're less risk averse, you can exit the remaining positions there. Or if you want to be a bit more lenient, you might keep that quarter or a third of position open up until it reaches a 21 period moving average, right? So this is a 5-minute chart intraday. Is this helpful so far to everyone? Again, I think what's important is to distinguish between trend and momentum. And so just quickly going back to what I showed you before, how many people in here trade options, by the way? Does anyone trade options or futures? Give me a quick yes in the chat box if you use options or futures. I'm just kind of curious how many people like to dance on the high wire. So again, particularly if you're a trader, right? And it almost doesn't matter whether you use options or futures. what you want is momentum. It's nice to know there's trend, right? But you're really looking for momentum because you're kind of an adrenaline junkie. And I don't mean this in a derogatory way. That's just what you're looking for if you're a trader. And so if you're looking for, if you're an options trader or a futures guy or gal, you're looking for momentum. You're not looking for trend. Now, trend is important. I'll be the first one to tell you trend is by far the most important. And I think before too long, a lot of people are getting their butts handed to them by not understanding trends and how they change, because they're actually changing now slowly. But you're looking specifically for momentum, right? So that's a really big deal. So it's about the acceleration of the move, not the move itself. Does that make sense? Can I get a quick yes on that for those people that understand that? Right? There's a huge difference between that. So let me just quickly show you this other chart here that I showed you before one more time. This one here. So it's nice to know there's a trend, right? That's this big long green arrow. What you're looking for is that move right there. You're looking for acceleration. And by the way, the NASDAQ 100 right now is again breaking to, or just about breaking to, fresh new lows this morning. Okay. So I have a 15-minute delay on this chart here, on this Metastock chart. But if you have live data, you can go pull that up, and you can see that just now the NASDAQ 100 is actually now breaking back to below to fresh lows today. So this momentum signal we got this morning, this one here, this is from this morning. You would see it's making fresh lows right now. Again, I'm working on a 15-minute lag here on this right now. So hopefully this is something you guys can use. So it's the acceleration of the trend. Let me just show you a couple other things. And I'm showing you intraday. I'm happy to show you this on the daily charts. Obviously, it's the same idea, right? Whether you use this on the daily charts or maybe let's actually quickly show you, like we look at CRWD before. Let's have a look at Microsoft, okay? So Microsoft, I'm going to bring it up here quickly. Here we are. Sorry, I have too many windows open here. So this is the daily chart of Microsoft, and you can see that we had a beautiful momentum buy signal in May that really lasted until the moving averages crossed over again. And now we got a momentum sell signal. And actually right now, Microsoft, let me see if I can get you a real-time read on Microsoft. Yeah, Microsoft too is moving along with the indices. It's actually probably going to break black to fresh intraday lows as well. But it's the shift in momentum, right? So if I get this sell signal there on June 19th, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to short the stock. I'm going to buy a put. I'm going to buy a put option. In fact, I'm going to buy an out-of-the-money put option because it's about momentum. So like with Microsoft there, I probably would have bought like a, and I didn't do this trade in full disclosure because I was on vacation then. But in Spain, as I said before, but I probably would have bought like a 425 put or a 420 put, right? And that's the beauty about this. Like if you think about this, I make the most amount of money from a trading perspective if I can buy like an out of the money call for a bullish trade or an out of the money put, or futures, of course, right? That's not where I put the majority of my money, but from a trading perspective, that's where you make the most money. So if we have something that determines new momentum, that really gives us a great edge in the market. Is this helpful so far, folks? Yes? Maybe? No? Is a quick thumbs up or thumbs down. So Microsoft right now is still a valid trade from a momentum perspective. Microsoft, you can see it's reached that profit target. So now we're operating with basically a trailing stop, either at the 21 period moving average or the 21 period moving average. Just depends how risk averse you are, whether you like to be dancing on the high wire, or if you're kind of more like on the bike with trading wheels. So that's kind of the point here. Let me give you a few other signals that have been firing off recently here, just so you can kind of get your head around this. I'm just going to go back to the intraday chart. And again, if you're a swing trader, it's the same exact thing. I'm just showing you. I like to show intraday stuff so people can see that it's real, that I'm not making stuff up, because I can't change the live flickering ticks here. So people appreciate that. But I want to show you Starbucks quickly. This is again here today, right now, and again, it's the same idea on the daily charts. It's just as accurate in the daily charts as it is on the intraday charts. So this here is Starbucks, and you can see we got a momentum sell signal, and you can see that it very quickly actually reached the first target, and actually this one. Okay, so let me back up a little bit. This one here, if you would have used the traditional stop loss that we have here, now Starbucks is more volatile than the S&P 500 or the Nasdaq 100, right? You want to be more lenient on something like this, particularly going into the Fed, which is essentially, or coming out of the Fed. But either way, you can see the momentum accelerated, and Starbucks went from like $79 this morning down to like 74, right? So it's about momentum, right? Flavia is asking about performance. There's no chance I'll be able to give you performance metrics, Flavia. It's no longer compliant, okay? I cannot give you performance metrics because like the FTC will come after us. What I can show you is things on the charts, okay? So let's just, for example, like I'm showing this in real time. That's why I'm trying to show you real stuff, because we're no longer allowed to show you real to give you metrics. It's the FTC is completely against that. I know a lot of people still do it, but a lot of these people are going to be put out of business, and I can't do that because we also have an investment advisory firm where we actually manage people's money. But let me show you to kind of address this question, because it's a good question by Flavia, but again, it's a completely non-compliant way for me to address it, so I can't do that. Let me try to give you one way to try to address this question. Let's look at the S&P 500, okay? And let's look at the S&P 500, like the past few signals. Maybe this will help you address the question for you. So Flavio and anyone else that cares about performance metrics, this is just on the SPY, right? I use this on futures. I use it on commodity futures. I use it on index futures. I use this on equities, on ETFs a lot. So, the asset's not that important. Here is the signals on the S&P 500 going back to last October. So we got a buy signal in early November of last year. That lasted, if you want to go signal to signal, which you can do as well. Again, it's momentum, it's the acceleration, right? That lasted basically until April of this year. Then we got a sell signal, which kind of was probably like a flat profits trade. It may have made 1%, may have lost 1%, right? But this one here made 18%. And then we got another momentum buy signal in early May, which I totally didn't want to take because I couldn't agree with the price action, but I ended up taking it because I said, hey, momentum's real and algos are there to do what they need to do. So then we get a buy signal, and we just now, a few days ago, got a fresh sell signal in the S&P. So I'm short the S&P 500 right now on a multi-day, multi-week basis right now. Okay, so that's the best way I can explain that answer. I can answer that question. Excuse me. I just can't give you metrics because it's just the FTC will shut us down for that kind of stuff. So hope that kind of helps, and you can do that with other stocks and things that you want to take a look at. Okay. Other signals. So some people before, I think, were asking about bonds. Let's look at TLT, which is an easy way to look at fixed income. I'm going to show you the TLT ETF. This is a 5-minute chart. Of course, we had the Fed yesterday. So just to give you an idea. So this is just the past 3 signals over the past 24 hours or so. And you can see we got a sell signal there. That did not reach its profit target. But again, TLT is slower moving, so sometimes you want to adjust your stop loss and profit target. What's more important here is the momentum coming in. And then, of course, we got a buy signal. This happened just after the Fed yesterday, and you can see how the buy signal got TLT ramping to its profit target, and then we could have either used the more conservative stop loss, right? That's this blue line, or the purple line. And then we got a little sell signal earlier today that was not valid, or it was valid, but it didn't work. And we're now getting a fresh buy signal on TLT. Okay, so that's TLT. It's about momentum. It's not about trend. It's about momentum coming in the market and leaving the market. Is that helpful? And by the way, the Nasdaq 100, for those people that were asking before, it is still working lower based on that sell signal this morning. Again, I'm working on a 15-minute lag here. So if you were to look at this in real time, you would see that the Nasdaq 100 over the past 15 minutes is actually now did quickly make fresh intraday lows. So, so that's what's happening there. How do you find momentum? Yeah, that's a really, really good question. And I do want to bring that up. I just want to show you one more stock just so you can kind of see how this works. I'm trying to get everyone's mind around this so you can kind of see, you can understand how this works. So this is Freeport-McMoRan this morning. Again, it's about momentum. So this is a live 5-minute chart of ticker symbol FCX, Freeport-McMoRan. You can see it right there, sell signal. It very quickly reached a profit target. But again, for individual stocks, you want to use wider profit target and stop loss. You want to use like 2 to 3 to 5%. And yeah, it's been a beauty, right? It's about momentum. It's about momentum. That's the major point I can try to bring across here today, is that momentum's a real thing. And with computer algorithms, you know, being more and more prominent, like momentum's going to be a thing that's going to be around us for a long time. But again, very importantly, it's not just going to be in your favorite tech stock. Like that'll stop. It's going to be in other parts of the market. Right now, we're seeing momentum move actually to the bearish side in those momentum stocks, right? In those MAC stocks, and on the bullish side in energy, healthcare, even staples and so on and so forth. Oh, Larry's asking why are we selling this indicator? Well, first of all, we have an education business, right? And so that's just part of the business. You know, I like to share, like, this is not going to change the way we trade. You know, why do we have our entire education business? You know, I feel like it's an honorable business. We're 100% transparent. So that's really why, Larry. Like, I have no, like, if you think that there's some hedge fund out there that has some sort of secret sauce that he's not willing to sell in terms of like an indicator, trust me, they would all sell it. It doesn't matter. So that's the reason why. It's a good question. Listen, I'm just showing you stuff in real time. The reason I'm showing it to you in real time is so you can see that I'm not making things up. Like you can literally see these charts click around in real time, right? So I don't know if that helps Larry or not, but I'm just trying to be transparent and kind of show you what's going on. You know, one thing I want to share you as well on the daily chart. There's a few things that I've been watching that I think are interesting that I'm certainly putting on my watch list. And I'll quickly bring up a couple of tickers so you can see them. Let me just quickly bring that up. So one stock that I think is really interesting here on the momentum side is PayPal. And you can see the acceleration in PayPal over the past few days. It's still valid. I think PayPal here can easily go into the 70s from a momentum perspective. Of course, the broader market is coming off here right now, so you have to keep that in mind. But the momentum in PayPal is really interesting. And then I have to look at Shack, which is Shake Shack. I mean, that was an interesting move this morning. I don't know why if this point this trade lasted, but I'll show you. I want to show you this one here. This is Shake Shack. Let me quickly bring this over. We typically work on an end of day basis on the daily charts for those people that are swing trading. So this is Shake Shack. So for those people that were looking for, sorry, let's make sure that those people looking for back testing, right? So like this here, for example, is Shake Shack, right? And you can see we had a sell signal in what was that, early May? Sorry. Okay. So we had an early sell signal in early May. So that brought the stock from like 95 to whatever, the high 70s. And we just now got a buy signal in momentum, right? So this is now a new momentum signal. Now, what's important for Shaq is we need this signal. This signal is only valid at the end of the day. It's because it's only, a little past midday. It's, I guess, 12:30 here on the East Coast. So you want to wait for this day to close, because you don't want the stock to completely fall apart this afternoon and close like down here, in which case that signal might actually disappear. So you want to wait for the end of the day. Does that make sense? Make sense? Yeah. And then we basically have two modes built in here for you guys for like the S&P and the NASDAQ 100. We have a day trading mode, and we have a which has its own profit targets, and then a daily mode. So like, let's go back to the NASDAQ 100 so you can see this here. This one has the day trading mode. So Jeffrey basically made two templates for this in MetaStock. So the day trading mode has different targets, like tighter targets, of course. Oh, here we go. So now the NASDAQ 100 charts I've updated here because I've got this on a 15-minute delay. So you can see it continues to go lower. That signal remains valid from today. Again, it's 15 minutes delayed, but yeah. Has that helped so far, folks? Does it kind of make sense? Another one I think is interesting, and I'll share this with you quickly. Maybe just for those people that were looking for back testing stuff. I'm just trying to pick stocks that everyone kind of knows or has heard of before. So for example, here is IBM. So this is IBM. And again, if you want to back test this, so you look at this, for example, we got a buy signal in IBM in mid-June. So the stock then went from like 170, it's momentum, right? 170, 190. On the bearish side, we got a sell signal before that in April. Then it went down here. And then on the bullish side, it went from, in October last year, from like 140 to almost 200. And then the one before then didn't quite reach its profit target, stopped out for probably like 1% or so, or something like that. So that's your momentum at work. If you guys want to see this intraday as well, I can show you that as well. Just kind of going back and forth on the same ticker in different time frames. So like this, for example, is ExxonMobil right now. Let me just quickly show you this. This is today. So this is ExxonMobil right here. So this is, sorry, IBM, my apologies. Again, it's a live 5-minute chart right now. You can see we had a buy signal this morning that reached its profit target right there. You can see it says exit because it reached a profit target. And then we had a sell signal that appeared. And actually, this was yesterday. My apologies. That buy signal was yesterday. And then basically a new sell signal at the end of the day yesterday that remains valid here right into right now. So. Yeah, actually, I don't know, Jeffrey, if you're here, do you want to talk about scanning for this stuff on MetaStock? I don't know if you're still around.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I plan on kind of touching base as soon as you're done. Scanning's super easy to do. And Grant, thank you for the question. Anytime you want to hand over the reins, I'll show how.
Yeah, sure. I'll hand it over to you right now,
okay.
If you don't mind. So, and just I want to quickly stay on this. So the NASDAQ 100, since we've been talking, has probably dropped another 0.5% or something like that, and the sell signal remains intact. Some people are asking about how do you get access to this. I'll quickly share this if you don't mind, Jeffrey. Yeah. So we made this available for MetaStock, so I can share this quickly here. In fact, today is the debut for you guys in MetaStock, but you can get access to it. It's actually 80% off here as a launch, and it's $397. And you get with that also 12 months of alerts. So I typically send out alerts on like on the daily charts, not intraday because that's too fast. But we send out those alerts as well. You get a full 12 months of that, including with the indicator. It's 80% off the list price right now. And the link for that, I don't know if you want to type that in or someone said, but it's metastock.com/trender. And the phone number.
It's typed in.
What's that?
I got it typed in. Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And then the phone number is the Metastock phone number. It's
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No. Let me quickly address Lawrence asking a great question. He's asking, and by the way, the Nasdaq meanwhile continues to plummet. So I like to show people the live stuff happening because otherwise people don't believe it's real. Again, I'm working on a 15-minute delay here, but like here's the Nasdaq in real time. This is just my Thinkorswim broker, but you can see it continues to drop lower here. So that signal remains valid. So great question. Let's address Lawrence's question. Lawrence is asking, how does this work if there's no trend? Does it work? Yeah. So again, it's a terrific question, but let's go back to where we started this morning when we started talking about this a half an hour, 40 minutes ago. Trend is different from momentum. Okay. So trends are fleeting. Momentum is fleeting. Let me go back to this because it's such a good question. I need to make sure we get this addressed if that's okay with you, Jeffrey. Because
I'm easy. Take your time.
I know you are. So the chart I showed before, just for illustration purposes, is this. Okay, so trend is a different thing than momentum. You'll have trends accelerate in trend. You'll have trends accelerate along the trend, or if there's no trend, right? The acceleration equals momentum. There's a huge disconnect, and when I see some people out there talking about teaching things like on YouTube, it's really crazy that there's a lack of understanding of that. It's because a lot of people are new to the market. They haven't fully gone through different cycles yet. But there's a huge difference between a trend and momentum, right? So you can have a ton of momentum bursts happening within a no trending asset. I will submit it's easier to find a trending asset. So I would prefer to use this in trending assets, right, as opposed to non-trending assets, because you don't want to use too choppy a market. But you can get great momentum moves in a sideways market as well. It's harder, but like the TST Trender will do that. It'll find you moves within those within choppy markets as well. I hope that it's important to get your head around what's trend and what's momentum. They are different, right? Anyway, I'll pass it over to your screen.
All right, let's go ahead and do this.
Yeah.
Let's see, make this is enter. Hey, I like your background too. Where is that exactly? Do you know?
Oh, well, the screen.
The desktop background. Yeah.
I don't know. It's somewhere in.
All right, cool.
Somewhere in the desert, maybe Arizona.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and just talk.
Gold is still bullish momentum right now. Arash is asking on the daily chart, and let me quickly pull it up here. Make sure. And intraday, it's totally choppy right now. There's no real momentum right now. It had a buy signal this morning. You guys want to show you that quickly? GLD.
Yeah. Do you want me to open it up real quick?
No, it's okay. Are you showing your screen already?
Yeah, I think so. I should be.
Okay. Yeah, you are. It's okay. It's right now. There was a buy signal at the open this morning, but it's basically choppy since.
Okay. We also, just so you know, if you want to reach out to us, we're happy to pull any chart you want. So if you want to see a chart of gold, we can pull it, whatever you want. If you just get in touch with our sales team, they're happy to talk to you about it and pull charts and that kind of stuff. So let me go back to the question about the scanner and how it works. And one of the things that we do best here at Metastock is, in my opinion, in my totally unbiased opinion, scanning. So I'm going to just show you how that works really quick. I've got our Power Console open, and I'm going to just come down here to what we call the Explorer icon. And the Explorer is just the same thing as our scanner. And what I've done, you can see I've already kind of just in the search box here, I've typed in TST. All of the scans start with TST space Trender, and you'll see that there's a custom mode. I'll talk a little bit about the custom mode. There's a day trade mode and a swing mode. So if you're using it in a swing mode, I'm going to scan daily. So I'm going to do the swing mode, and I'm just going to select that as the scan we're going to run. Down here, one of the things that with Metastock, the data is super clean. There's also a ton of it. So, because of where we get our data and kind of the way that it's provided, there's literally 350,000 different exchange instruments you can look at, 300 exchanges. You can do this on Indian data. You can do it on London data. You can do it on Australia, whatever you want. The data is going to be available for you as part of Metastock, and it's super clean. We get it from basically London Stock Exchange Group, and it's the Reuters infrastructure is what it is. So just to kind of keep things quick, what I'm going to do is I've come into Equities North America. I'm going to scan for Dow Jones Industrials, the S&P 500, and the NASDAQ 100. If you can scan against anything that you want, I'm going to go ahead and start it. We're using a daily periodicity here. I'm just going to go ahead and start the scan. You can run this on any list that you want. I like the Dow Jones, the S&P, and the NASDAQ 100 because I know those are fairly liquid. There is a complete list of all of the optionable stocks you can run it against. There's a list of all the ETFs you can run it against it. You can run it against all of the stocks if you want to. It'll pull those up for you. So we're going through here right now in real time. We've gone through about 400 stocks. We've eliminated 95% of those. So those we're only going to look at the stocks that actually have an opportunity. And that quickly we were able to do it. It depends on your internet, but it'll probably run faster for you because you're not sharing your audio and your video and your screen. Your bandwidth may not be as intense. It might be more intense if you have, I don't know, teenage daughters at home. But in any case, we were able to get through that pretty quickly. And that's the thing I love about scanning. Like I can focus on just those stocks that have an opportunity. I can ignore, there's a lot of noise with 7,000 stocks in the market. I can kind of look at the ones that have just an opportunity right now. So if I'm looking for the TST Trender swing mode, instead of looking at 600 stocks or the 520 that we just scanned, if I'm looking for longs, there's T-Mobile today, Coca-Cola, and CSR. And so I could open these up. Why don't we? We'll just go ahead and open those up. And then I can kind of show you how they look in the Metastock. And I'll let Serge, I know there was a couple questions about what platforms are supported. I'll let Serge answer that because I don't know for sure. I do know it's supported in Metastock. And I do like the way that the scanning is actually implemented and that kind of stuff too. So let's go ahead and look at T-Mobile just for the point of kind of looking at this. I'm going to actually apply the studies for the TST. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and right click on the chart and you go to apply template. And I'm just going to go to the TST Trender. We did the scan for swing, which is the one that you'll use if you're using daily charts. I'm going to go ahead and apply that. And right here, you can see we had a little bit of a bullish or a bearish signal just a few days ago that we stopped out of here. We're setting up a buy signal. Now, a couple things about the actual application that I really like. You'll see that the buy signal is generated. We knew that it was going to be on the chart because we scanned for it just now, right? But as soon as we're kind of looking at this trade, we can kind of evaluate it, see if this is something that we like.
Hey, Jeffrey, on that, if you don't mind, just quickly also, we do, here's the camera. We do member webinars every month, and I explain people why that sell signal there was actually not valid, right? So not to go into too much detail right now, but the buy signal that we're getting today, as long as it still is a buy signal by end of day, remember this, you want to use this end of day because that's a daily chart you're using there, I think, right? Yeah, it's a daily chart.
Yes. Yeah, this
so
is
that
daily.
Sell signal would not have been valid because it didn't break below a range. Right. Again, it's a super simple rule we have, but the buy signal today will be valid as long as it closes like it is right now. So that's just it's like a super simple way of qualifying it, but it's part of the rules that we developed over the years.
Part of the training too, as well.
Part of the training. Yep.
Cool. Okay. All right. I lost my train of thought though. Oh yeah. Sorry, okay, let me go. I got it back. I got it back. Right here, as soon as you have that buy signal generated, it's going to give you a stop loss. Stop losses, I feel, are one of the more important things to have in trading. I don't know if Serge would agree, but
sure.
I think you always need to have kind of a risk plan. Okay, like if I'm wrong, where do I get out? It's telling you right here, this little red dot is going to be the stop loss. It's going to give you an initial profit target as well. And one of the things I also like about the Metastock integration and that we made sure to program is if I open up what we call our commentary right here, it'll kind of break down this trade a little bit more for me. So right here, we've got kind of the buy signal. It's telling us that the TST Trender is currently indicating that long. It's going to give us that profit and loss and some other details on the system as well for us. So I like the commentary almost as much as I like the scanning because it helps me kind of explain to you what's going on a chart. So there you go. That's kind of it in a nutshell. AC, thank you for using Metastock. It's available with Metastock 19. Serge, we do have a lot of questions about what other platforms are supported. Of course, my preference would be Metastock.
Why is that, Jeffrey?
Well,
so biased.
Well, I might be biased, but I also feel like it's got the best scanner in the industry. I also feel like it's been rated #1 in its price category for 31 years in a row. I also they pay me, so but I do think a lot of people, if you don't have a platform that's supported and you want to try it with Metastock, it has been rated #1 31 years in a row this year, and we'll actually let you try it for free with your TST Trender purchase. So, but can you tell us all the platforms that are actually supported?
Yeah, I mean it's really Metastock and TradingView.
Okay.
We will not be releasing this on things like Thinkorswim, just because they don't allow us to hide the code, and
Okay.
we're just not doing that. So it's Metastock and it's TradingView, and yeah, I mean I can only second your scanner. I've been playing around with it. It's really, really robust, and you need that. You need a robust scanner. I do send out trade alerts on these. So right now we're actually short the SPY. We talked about that before. I don't send out day trade alerts because that's just too hectic and too quick. But we send out alerts on like SPY and Q and some stocks here and there in gold. When they come on the daily charts. So you also get 12 months of that included with the indicator. But you'll love it. I mean, I'm biased now, right? Because it's my indicator.
Yeah.
But
you like it?
It really is cool. I tell you, because
I have a list of what's included right here too. I put it in my deck. So, and I do want to kind of talk. I'll go back a little bit, but one of the things I really like with Serge and kind of the way that he backs up products is what's included. So he's going to give you 12 months access to his education and support club. He calls it the 2% club. He's going to give you 12 months of that trade alerts. This is for $397 too. I want to underscore that too. You'll get a risk management plan for all trades. You'll get step-by-step tutorials on how to use the TST Trender. You get the live monthly coaching sessions. You just did one this morning. Is that right?
Yeah, I literally just finished one. We just in the recordings to be in the members area. So when you guys are in, and I do them all the time, and I make a video every Monday to like updating new signals, and again we send out trade alerts when there are on some of the things I just mentioned before. So,
all right, you got the live monthly coaching sessions, the triple play strategy, and the ultimate traders checklist. So I want to kind of just go back a little bit here and talk a little bit more about kind of what's included. I showed scanning. One of the things that I like is there is a tester. There was a question earlier about performance, and we can go back and actually kind of, as part of the program, we can do some testing. So you'll notice there's basically 3 different versions of this available. You'll see it either says custom, day trade, or swing. So there's a version that you can go in and say, well, I want these moving averages, and there's parameters that you can change. But in addition to that, once you change those, it will allow you to kind of get the signals based on exactly the indicator that you want. What we did to kind of accommodate, maybe the best one is in the system tester, you can go in and say, well, okay, I want to do Apple, or I want to do the S&P 500. What stocks work best with this? And you can do that with the day trader or the swing one. But you can also go in and have it test different moving averages to kind of give you the scenarios that are most optimized for the market environment. And so there is an optimized test that you can go in to actually play with that. And when we kind of sit down and do the recording on the training, I'll show you how that all works. It's not hard. It's actually really, really easy to do. So you do have the expert advisors that kind of fit with that. You've got the custom, the day trading, and the swing mode. And I do really like how it's clear and concise. It gives you the targets and stop losses. I think those are money management. I think is one of the keys most people don't take with them when they start trading, and it is customizable. So I showed you the commentary. We already talked about all the stuff that's included, and I love the inclusions that come with this, because if you're new and you're new to a methodology and you want somebody that knows exactly what the design the system, and they're helping you, and they're doing monthly webinars, and they give you access to their portals. All that stuff is very, very helpful for you to get started. It's kind of like having somebody help you. AC, I'm going to answer your question, I promise. You keep asking it. I see it. For Metastock, it does. Oh, the other thing before we talk about that is we are doing a 2-part training. This will happen live. We'll sit down and record this. It's going to be August 16th, 2024. So it's coming up in about 15 days from today. Welcome to August too, by the way. Serge is going to talk about the setups and how to use them. And then I'm going to do a deep dive into kind of, well, I wouldn't call it a deep dive, let's call it more of a getting started, where I kind of show you how to go in and customize the systems, how to do the scans, how to kind of just some tips and tricks into using Metastock as well. So AC has the question, what versions of Metastock this will work with? This will work, and sorry, it took me a minute to get to your question. This will work with our Metastock 19 versions, so it's 19 and higher, and it will work with either DC, the end of day version, or the real-time version. If you don't have if you don't have Metastock and you want to use it with Metastock, you want to try it with Metastock, we will throw in a free trial. I said it a little bit earlier, and I like to brag a little bit about it, but it has been rated the best software for 31 years straight, and so you should try it. We'll give it to you for free, even if you're going to be using it with TradingView. You'll like the scanning in this. So, AC, let me know if that has. Aresh says, custom day trading and swing has different settings, or do we need to buy these indicators separately? It's all included. So you, as part of the package, when you get it, it's $397. You can go to metastock.com/trender to get it, or you can actually do this fancy little QR code I made. But that'll get you set up for it. And when you install it, you're going to have the custom, the day trade, and the swing trade settings. You'll also have access to the live session that I'll record as well. It'll make it available to you. And you also get the 12 months of access to everything that's here. So it isn't a different charge for every single one, Arash. You pay the $397, you get the 12 months access, you get the indicators, everything you need to kind of get started, and Metastock if you need it. So hopefully that was a clear answer for your question, Arash. To do it, you can just go to metastock.com/trender. I'm going to put this in the chat again. Kelly will put it in the chat for YouTube behind me. If you have questions, if you want to see some charts, you can go. We love to talk to you at metastock.com/sales chat. And you can always give us a call in the US or Canada at 800-882-3040. So, AC, if you haven't, I'm assuming based on your question that you haven't gotten 19 yet, and I would encourage you to. And 19 is absolutely my favorite. Well, I'm also, again, biased, and I like all the new versions because we don't take stuff out of the software. We just add stuff. But I do love with 19 how many changes were made. They added we did like a 2-hour webinar. But yes, it will work with 19. We just ran a special on the 19 upgrades. I love the fact that I can run that scan. And just like I did just now, this is a bit of a new feature for 19. I said, hey, Coke came up and T-Mobile came up and CCEP came up, right? I went ahead and opened them up. And all of those charts are available in tabs. You don't have to have you can use a tabbed interface if you want. I love the way layouts are. I love the new look and feel of the software. So if you haven't done 19, there's a lot of really, really cool reasons to. When we do a webinar on what's new in 19, it takes us over an hour to go through everything. But it does require 19 to work. So thank you for the question. If you're going to get this, get the upgrade as well, we'll give you a bundle for both of the pricing. So just give us a call. We'll help you figure it out. 800-882-3040. So that's all I got. Serge, anything else? Did we
Yeah,
forget about anything?
No, it's perfect. I mean, just keep watching the cues there. We got that momentum sell signal this morning. It's a day trade, right? That's not a. Although I am short both the Nasdaq and the SPY on the daily charts as well, since we got those sell signals. But keep watching this. Also, at this point, if you were to see some sort of a sharp reversal back up, like tomorrow we have job numbers, and again, it's not about really what people like. That's the crazy thing about the markets nowadays, Jeffrey, is longer term you can do a lot of fundamental work on companies, and that's really important. We do that as well. But if you're just looking to trade, like that, this momentum to the downside today, it can totally change tomorrow, and the trend won't have changed. But if from a day trading perspective, for example, you might have a huge buying opportunity tomorrow.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Forecast. Just saying that it's momentum, right? There's a difference in that. But again,
are you saying that the markets have gotten more volatile?
Well, they actually haven't gotten more volatile. That's the problem. They've gotten choppier, right?
Oh, yeah,
and that's because, like, if you think about a machine, is first of all, obviously, there's no emotions, or at least they don't have emotions yet.
Right.
And if they do, we'll have problems. But no, I mean, there's no motion, and they can move so much money so quickly. Like and I've done some big trades myself, on back at JP Morgan or on the hedge fund side. But there's always a hesitancy to hit that button in one big swoop, right? Even if it gets ultimately executed on the order desk in sort of smaller increments. The machine doesn't give a hoot. Like, it'll just buy, and it'll keep buying until the algo says stop. So a machine will move markets much quicker than we do. And the silver lining here is we can jump in the back of those guys, right? It's just understanding that it's not about trends. Those are momentum trades, right? And I think if anyone, if you can get like, honestly, I would encourage everyone to tonight and over the weekend really think about, let this sink in. Let this idea between trend and momentum really sink in, because sometimes it takes a while for people to get to comprehend that. One of the things also, Jeffrey, I find a lot of people struggle with, and it's understandable why, is time frames. So you might ask someone, hey, do you like Apple? And they might say yes. Well, how can you answer that question if you don't know what the time frame is? Like, is that for the next 5 minutes? Is that for the next 2 days or 2 years? But the answer was yes, which is a crazy answer if you really think about it, right? So just like people have a hard time understanding different time frames, they also have a hard time differentiating momentum from trend, which is actually exactly why. And this is someone whoever before was asking, why do I sell this indicator? If it's so great, I should be a billionaire sipping tequila on a yacht right now. Which was the implied question. And the reason is, I think there's a huge disconnect between that. And I think a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money in the markets over the next couple of years if they don't understand the difference between trend and momentum. And that's really why I want to release this. So anyway.
Marshall has another good question. I'm just kind of going through. We might have answered this already. Does this work well on ETFs and index ETFs in particular?
Well, we just talked, I think. I think we literally spent 90% of the time looking at the Qs and the SPY.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that would be the implied yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Very cool. The whole session was named. This is working on the SPY or something.
Well, it's a fair question. I really.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Let's see. Serge, thanks for coming. Thanks for spending an hour and change with us. I appreciate that. If you guys are watching us on YouTube, either now or in the future, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. It helps a great deal. I appreciate it. Kelly behind me appreciates it. Give this a go. It's only $3.97. It comes with all those included extras that Serge is so good at providing. And we look forward to hearing from you. So thanks again, Serge.
Thanks, guys. Much appreciated. I'll see you on the inside. Thanks, Jeffrey.
All right. Stay healthy, everybody. See you